I was looking for things to put in a bio before I do a talk about mental health, which I've got to do in October. I've got a number of talks about mental health because it's World Mental Health Day somewhere in the middle of October. And so people ask me to do these talks. And one of the things that seems to be most effective is if they sell the talk to their internal audience as from high flyer to rock bottom. I see why that would be quite compelling and why people turn up, but I've always felt a bit uncomfortable about the high flyer bit. So I was looking for something to put into my bio, and I came across this magazine, this Financial Times magazine. It's quite old, sorry about the shine on it, I don't know if you can see. Anyway, that's a younger, hairier me cleaning the windows outside the then tallest building in the UK, maybe even Western Europe. And I quite like doing that story. I did a series of stories all about people who have like real jobs, because I thought it was quite interesting and even maybe slightly subversive to get blue collar jobs into the Financial Times magazine. And I just enjoyed going to see these people, meeting these people, and not just talking to them, but actually doing the job with them. So that's me on the outside of the building, and that's another picture. And these pictures are by the excellent photographer Stuart Friedman, who deserves the credit. Stuart Friedman. And can I read you? I can, because it's my Facebook Live. I'm going to read you how it starts. It says, "If this thing keeps wobbling, I think I may have a problem. I'm standing inside a window cleaner's cradle, swinging slowly off the roof of the UK's tallest building, the 800-foot tower at Canary Wharf. A faint breeze nudges my end of the cradle towards the building. So Mark Bones, my window cleaning colleague, invites me to lean forward and push us away. In doing so, I find it impossible to ignore the immense drop below. From this height, a human body would take 6, maybe 7 seconds to hit the ground. A tiny fleck of soapy water spills from my hand, and I find myself hypnotized as it spins away, eventually becoming too small to see. In stronger winds, lowering yourself off the roof is not merely tense, it's terrifying. And doing it in winter at 6 a.m. in pitch darkness and the freezing cold should certainly be considered less appealing than spending the morning tucked up in bed." I won't go on from that bit anymore, because I just want to mention one particular thing. That there's another of Stuart's excellent pictures, shows how hazardous it was. And I want to draw your attention to the unusual shape at the top of that building. You see the top 4 floors go in a bit. So to get the cradle off the top 4 floors, we had to be winched out. And remember, we're hanging on these lines 4 floors down, so the wind, even small wind, blows you around like crazy. You have to push the whole thing out. So we're swinging around, and then you have to push over the edge of the next, I think, 46 floors to make sure that the cradle gets over that edge. Does that make sense? Well, I hope so. I'm sure you'll be able to press replay and try and work out what it was. Oh, look, there's some more pictures of us on the way up. There's Mark Bones, who is now not such a young man, nor am I. There's us in the lift. And I wanted, so why am I telling you all this? Because I was looking for evidence of the mental health thing and the high flyers to rock bottom. And I suddenly had this realization that this is high flyer because I'm a writer on the Financial Times. But it's also high flyer because I'm a window cleaner on this tall building. So I felt more comfortable about that. And so I can go on about it, which is what I'm doing now. I'm just going on about it. But I also had this really interesting thing that I thought was a really interesting metaphor about window cleaning. It's nothing to do with looking through a dirty window and then cleaning it, although I'm sure there's lots of good metaphor in there. I'll tell you a funny thing after, if I remember, because you can't remind me, because I can't tell if anyone's ever going to watch this, let alone now. I'll note to self, tell funny thing about what happened halfway down the building. Right, in the meantime, I want to press on and talk about how this particular job on Canary Wharf was very hazardous, and it's a great metaphor for mental health, because you can be a high flyer and be having a great time and having a great view, and then things can change. And that's a metaphor for mental health, because you might not notice the change happen. You might not notice the bad stuff. And then will it be too late? Will you end up having a breakdown? Right, so where was I? So I'm jumping ahead a little bit, and oh look, interesting statistic. Altogether, the tower has 3,960 windows. Some on the ground floor are cleaned daily, but most are done once a month. Anyway, that's a metaphor, I'm sure. So talking about the weather, at Canary Wharf, it's common for the wind to rush down from the roof and also upwards from the ground, and somewhere in the middle, consequently, soapy water defies gravity. Instead of dribbling down, it stays exactly where you put it, unless there's a sudden gust from below, in which case it might run upwards, spoiling the windows you've already cleaned. If the wind is strong in both directions, the water might fly back in your face. If it's really bad, wind can actually lift the cradle, putting slack into the cables above, which carry electric current and should never be allowed to touch each other. Or if the cradle should happen to hang near the building's edge, oscillating cables might flick around a corner and get stuck, leaving window cleaners stranded in their wonky lifeboat. For these reasons, window cleaners are encouraged to clean inside shops and offices when the weather is bad. Right, sometimes bad weather just sneaks up on cradle operators. In his time, Mark Bones has seen several thunderstorms hurtling towards him from distant counties. When that happens, he must race to reach the top before lightning strikes. And that's no joke, because coming up from the lower floors in the cradle takes more than half an hour. That's when I wish it had some gears, he laughs. So I just remembered that bit, because I really remember how intensely it's such a beautiful view, and it takes half an hour to do the up and down, to do one way. And I thought, if you saw this storm coming, you would avoid it. But with mental health, I didn't see the storm coming. And I often talk about my breakdown as it was like bad weather that came, and it was just awful. It's not. So I was very uncomfortable and ashamed and shy about talking about it at the time. I felt terrible, much worse than that sounds. But looking back, I see it as I just got visited by this bad weather. Anyway, so recording this thing, talk about high flow, but I said I was going to talk about the funny thing that happened. So at the time, someone very close to me was working at the Daily Telegraph magazine. And remember, this is the FT magazine. And I was the man from the FT cleaning windows on Canary Wharf. And the Daily Telegraph was halfway down the building. And we positioned my cradle exactly in the right spot, so that when I got halfway down the building, I was cleaning the windows of the editor of the Daily Telegraph. And I thought that was quite interesting. I don't know, it sounds, now I say it, it sounds rather subservient. But hey, I'm here to serve. That has been a Facebook Live. I'm sure I've talked for long enough. Thank you very much for watching, if you ever did.